It's weird. They came in holding hands and they ran right up steps. Yeah, it's happening. I'm gonna get me an uncle or another aunt. That's a wrong note. Ain't it beautiful? Stop. You're too beautiful. Oh, I definitely will. Do it right now. Doo-doo-doo boo. Doo-doo-boo doo boo. Bidoo bidoo. Oh, yes. Yes. With a fish. Oh. I can see that actually happening. There's that fish. Fishes. I don't think it just turns you into stone. It doesn't necessarily kill you. I mean, unless you're dead is the second you turn to stone. I didn't think they really clarified. Hit stuff with your guitar. You're telling me a rock can't have consciousness? What is consciousness? What is this? What is this? I mean, as much of a part of my heart is of me, I still like to believe that I'm much more than just my heart. Like it's just a part of this entireness, but still, the heart is a pump as well as another thinking device besides the brain, because you can think and feel with your heart. Besides, you know, it's just a part of the vessel that is a vessel for my consciousness. So what is consciousness? Now, if my vessel turns, damn it, my network disconnected. Now, if my vessel is turned to stone, does that necessarily mean my consciousness is not existent any longer, or just the vessel that it was in is now no longer? Yeah, carbon atoms, a hell lot of them. Well, spiritually, we're much more than just this physical form. It's proven. Yeah, this body, the embodiment that I am, this thing that they call Roku, would be gone forever. Unless you saved a piece of my tissue and you put it into a petri dish and then cloned my body. But then, would that necessarily be me? Would that thing that resembles this body be me? Or would it have a complete separate different consciousness and thought of its own? Right. Unless you like stood in the exact same spot and moved the exact same way, you would still technically have different thoughts based on what subjectively was coming at you, being received and put out, and it's all different. It's just different. Yeah, exactly. In a different era with a different influences, there'd be a different me. So necessarily, would I be able to take who I am, my consciousness, out of my body willingly and put it in something else that I know would last a lot longer? Maybe like the internet. I would be 17 years younger than you. Well, no, I'd heard they could grow the body into whatever age they want it to necessarily be in by like programming the DNA, what have you. Pretty cool stuff that science can actually do today, but they're not allowed to clone humans. It's illegal. In America, anyway. So they're probably doing it in some country. I forget where I heard this, but I heard that it would be a really intimidating and scary thing for anybody to actually create a device that would be able to self-reproduce or replicate itself. Aren't humans the epitome of just that? Like, that's all we do is reproduce and replicate ourselves. And that's why there's a population problem. It's not a population problem yet. There's a resource issue, which there's not enough resources or food or water to go around with the amount of people that there currently are on this planet. And we're not really necessarily close to being overpopulated on the world now, but in 20 more years, it's going to look pretty tight. Well, yeah, you'd miss out on a lot of learning from physical experience, but you'd be able to be programmed this knowledge, so you'd come out already knowing. Yes, there you go. There's an infinite number of you and I. It's because, like, in that moment when we no longer are, if there is no longer a consciousness, let's say you flutter out of your body in the spirit form and you're very well of time and its presence, and you'd be able to find another vessel or link on to another one, like almost like you would literally be a memory of this person, and you'd like hang around with them, kind of like a ghost. If it isn't like that, which I can't think that it is, but in some instances, some spirits might, because of attachment. Now, the moment that we're deceased, we no longer perceive time. So one of two things are going to happen. You're going to have the inception effect, where time's going to be really slow, and like 1 year would seem like a second, or no, a second would seem like a year, or the complete opposite. Like, time would go by fast, like, because you have no more understanding or presence of it. Kind of like when you fall asleep, and then you wake up, and it feels like you were asleep for 5 minutes, but 5 hours went by. But because you absolutely have no presence of understanding or a vessel to be beckoned by time, it would just be gone. Like an entire another universe could be destroyed and then reborn in the instance of your death. So who's to say that if you do have a consciousness that's linked into the space and time of the grid that you're currently existing on within this fabric of everythingness that you wouldn't become, again, as you just said, in the infiniteness that me and you are. Maybe we've done this before. Maybe this is like the third time we've lived out this story, and that's why particularly sometimes there's a deja vu of what a deja vu is potentially is. I like how you're cool with this, by the way. There are an infinite number, you and I. And in one of the infinite universes, we are married. It's exactly how you felt before you were born. Nothing. To join the spirit science group. We're always talking about this stuff, and we all come from like different corners of the earth too, so it's pretty cool to know you're not alone. You're never alone, ever. Yeah, I think that's particularly why a lot of us come to YouNow. Like, a lot of us really do like to express our thoughts and be skillful and show your talents and other things to other people. But the other half of us, I'd like to generally believe to know that they're not just bored, but that they're not alone, and to communicate this, to connect on this greater consciousness grid that is the internet. Yeah, through your eyes, that absolutely. To I'm the protagonist of the simulation, and it's automatic to respond to you. Nothing is the right way. Epoxy. One example, Australia's pixels aren't loaded right now because they just don't have to be for my simulation. Preach it. Yeah, actually, it really is. I knew a guy. He started looking into what he taught classes for was called astrotometry, and it had to do with foreshadowing and the sacred geometry and the understanding of the greater fractal measurements that are in this, not just the solar system, but the galaxy and the greater, and how it all correlated to something that we could actually understand and see based off the fractal scales of understanding how everything works from our perspective to a smaller one. So he was honestly saying there's a math to understanding the fate of absolutely everything, but in particularly great cataclysmic events. So he'd use this math with the sun, cosmic waves, and he would do this math because based off the cosmic wave, the magnetic fields that they projected, and as they hit our planet, he'd be able to tell where like earthquakes and hurricanes would actually start to form weeks ahead of time. The red shift, is that a thing? I don't know. We called it astrotometry at the time. This is like moons ago. I don't know. That sounds pretty cool though, red shift. But he started getting too involved with it, where he started going like, but I mean, we all did, because it was mind blowing how truthful this stuff actually were. And he went like on this spirit journey, and I really wasn't having it. I was still all about the science side of it. And the more I dove into the science and finding out like the fractal scale of everything, these atoms all have a particular math to them. And they refer to it as the Fibonacci or golden ratio. And everything that was built off of that had like a sacred geometry to it. So I was like, okay, what does all this have to do? Because the more I thought about it, the more my body just started resonating with this frequency that is the breath of the universe. Somebody gave me a book called the Tao of Physics, and at the same time I found this thing called Spirit Quest through Spirit Science. And what an amazing journey it currently is. Like, it has not ended. There was a starting point. It was called birth, but it wasn't up until about 3 years ago when I actually started going on this virtual tour of what this thing is. And it's beautiful. Like, there's a lot of people out there that say, yeah, everybody's talking about rainbows, flowers, and unicorns and bullshit. And I'm like, listen, those things are things, all right? There's a lot of bad things out there, too. It's your choice if you want to say, oh, here's all the bad stuff. Let me carry that around and just look at all the good stuff and just say, I don't have time for that. I'm already carrying all this bad stuff. When it should just be like, I don't need to carry this. I don't need to carry that. There's going to be truth and there's going to be distruth. There's going to be information and disinformation. You can choose and accept and believe everything that you want to. Is not going to make the world any different than it already is going to be. It's really what you want to carry with you, because you got to bear that weight and project into this world of it what you want to. Be the change you want to see in the world. So yes, that's the thing. A lot of theories are plausible. My dad has a theory of life force. Theory. I read it right. Just hug the unicorn and never let go. Yes. You don't have to. Life force. I need to come over there and talk to you guys about life force. Energy. Yes. Energy. What is energy? Energy can be mass in motion. Energy can be a measurement of that motion according to distance, the mass, time, relevance, weight. What else? Yeah, energy, the life force. Life force. And maybe it has to do with 3 separate entities, so like tri-life force. Like it has to do with the mind, body, spirit, and everything else that has to exist, and then something that holds it all together. Like one whole vessel for everything. So there's all this stuff, and then there's all of us, then there's all the little shit, and then there's the stuff that we can't even fathom. A life force. And these are my hands doing this. I'm not trying to represent anything with my hands. Yes. Talking about the essence of observing now. I know it's really hard for you to get out your point because you got to type it off, and you can't type your thought out as fast as you're thinking it. Summon that force. Yes. But no, who else was saying that? Teal Scott was saying something necessarily doesn't exist until you're observing it. Like it's just a thing. It's like this data that doesn't exist. This is all behind me. The only reason I know it's behind me is because I've seen it once before, and I could kind of see it now in my camera. But is it anything back here even relative to everything that's in my perspective? When I close my eyes, I see absolutely nothing at all. Does it mean that it's not there? Well, I can hear the vibrations of sounds that bounce off of every object that's in there. But even then, the things that make up these objects in this room, it's all temporary. And the molecules that make them up are still very empty spaces. So is it really there? Is it a thing? Then I had another friend that said, this plastic bottle here is currently a plastic bottle, but tomorrow this could be a chair, or perhaps even a space shuttle that is now a boat, and then back into a bottle again. He called himself the Atlantis King. Schrodinger's cat. What is that? That fella, yes. Cheshire cat. Cheshire. What cat? There's no cat. Do you see a cat? Honestly, I don't even know what you're talking about. What's it from? The one in the box. Have I heard of this? Let me look it up. Let me look it up so we can be on the same page here. Here's the Connect Nautic. And here's a YouTube video explaining it. Pardon the ad.
This wouldn't be a YouTube channel without a cat video, so without further ado, we present Schrodinger's cat. I'm sure you've heard some version of this famous thought experiment. You put a cat in a bunker with some unstable gunpowder that has a 50% chance of blowing up in the next minute, and a 50% chance of doing nothing. The gunpowder is Einstein's version. Schrodinger preferred poisonous gas. But whatever. So until we look in the bunker, we don't know whether the cat is dead or alive. And when we do look, it is either dead or alive. So if we repeat the experiment enough times with enough cats and bunkers and gunpowder, we'll see that half the time, Kitty survives, and half the time, Kitty goes bye-bye. The quantum mechanical interpretation is that before we look, the cat is in a superposition. It's both dead and alive. And our act of looking forces nature's decision. So our curiosity kills the cat. But what about the cat's perspective? Well, the cat either sees the gunpowder explode, or not. So inside the bunker, we actually have these two possibilities. The powder explodes and the cat sees it explode, or the powder doesn't explode, and the cat doesn't see it explode. There's no option, the powder explodes and the cat doesn't see it explode. So the cat's reality becomes entangled with the outcome of the experiment. And it's our observation of the experiment that forces nature to collapse to one option or the other. But we're like the cat too. Either the cat dies and we see it dead, or the cat lives and we see it alive. So who's observing us to force nature to collapse to one reality? Or do both possibilities happen in parallel within a larger multiverse? This collapsing to one reality problem is one of the biggest unanswered questions in quantum physics. So for Kitty's sake, can I has answer please?
she did. That's pretty cool. Excuse me while I'm chewing some food. You're gonna hate me. I think this is absolutely hilarious. What are you doing? Oh man. You're beautiful, stop it. I've made a lot of things in the snow. That was not one of them. It was Snow Willie. You wanna build a Snow Willie? I'm absolutely finished with that tuna fish. I didn't know it was 8:22. All right. Well, tell you what. I'm hopping out of the talk channel, because I'm about to coordinate with my friend who's getting home from work, and I think we should make a snow penis. Seems appropriate. There's snow outside. Yeah, the photos I did thumb through in just that quick second were absolutely hilarious. I really enjoy your personality. I should try it. If somebody sees this guy outside making a snow penis, they're going to be quite concerned. You got destroyed, though. That a ratchet come by and was like, Snow Willie. Alright. Sounds like fun. It's a date. We should ask your dad first because it would be legally acceptable that way. Nice. That was pretty awesome. Hey, listen, you take care now. I'm gonna get out of here. We'll play music again next time, okay? Oh man, yeah, right. Mom probably way all for it. Like, he's a cutie. Go get him. I respect that. Still smells weird. Here, have a sniff. Nice. Teacher crushes are the best. Juicy. Yeah. Juicy indubitably. Alright, hey, stay beautiful now, okay? I'm gonna get out of here. Mwah! It's a Shane Dawson leave, and we'll do it with the cutting of the video camera. Alright, see you guys. Till next time. Bye. It didn't do it right. Hang on. Shutter.